TII Item 411, October 25th, 2016, iOS 10.1, and Apple Q3 2016 Quarterly Report.
Welcome to Today in iPhone.
I like it a lot.
Today in iPhone.
Hey, Google!
Oh, yeah!
My beautiful iPhone, which I never have out of my hand and that I do everything with and has become an extension of who I am.
Today's episode is sponsored by Harry's. Go to harrys.com right now and enter code TII at checkout to claim your free trial set and free post-shave balm. That's harrys.com and enter coupon code TII. This episode of Today in iOS is brought to you by Casper. Get $50 off any mattress purchase by visiting casper.com/TII and using promo code TII. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rob, and this is the Today in iOS podcast. First up, I want to thank Brian for sending in the music you hear in the background. Brian wrote, "Hey Rob, here is a song called Hey Sunshine. On iOS, I use the apps Nano Studio, iMachine, Notion, and GarageBand. Most of the songs started on the iPhone or the iPad and then were brought over to the Mac for finishing. On the Mac, I use the apps Studio One, Logic, and Notion. You can find more of my music at reverbnation.com/TimFate. Regards, Brian." Well, thanks, Brian, for the music. And folks, I'll put the full song at the end of the episode. Also want to thank, me for the artwork for today's show. This is episode 411, and if you know my past, that's kind of a very special number for me. So I wanted to make sure the artwork was appropriate. I created this artwork on my iPhone by searching for Podcast 411 space icon in Google, and then finding the 411 on its own, and then in the app Over, I added the TII in the upper left. You can see this artwork in the free TII app via the bonus buttons for episode 411, or at instagram.com/todayinios, or as a standalone post in the VIP section, and at facebook.com/todayinios. If you have some artwork and or music you have created on your iOS device that you would like to share with the audience, please email to me at todayinios@gmail.com. Please make sure to include which app or apps you use to create said artwork and or music. And I am completely out of music. None. Gone. Cupboards are bare. So if you have some music that you've created on an iOS device, please send it in. If you sent me something in the past and I haven't played it on the show, then I lost it. So resend it. But I'm out of music, so please send in your music. In this segment of How Wrong Were They?, we have the following quote. Quote, "However, for the company to truly move forward as a tech power, Apple should hang up on the iPhone after one more iteration, presumably iPhone 6. You might disagree." Unquote. Richard Santovillas, Forbes, 6th of January 2013. Might disagree? Might? Huh? So Apple should just shut down the iPhone line, which is, 65-70% of its revenue? Genius! Evidently, Forbes is pretty liberal with their drug screening policy for employees, because whatever Richard was smoking, even Gary Johnson would not legalize. This week for promo codes, we have the app Retsnom, which is monster spelled backwards. Here is the description/storyline of this game. Quote, "You have a daughter. She is unfortunately infected by a zombie virus." I hate when that happens. "The only way to save your daughter is to visit the laboratory in the future and steal the medicine that is expected to be made by your colleagues. But the future research team is hiding in a maze using mirrors. They decorated the maze using features of a mirror in each level." Unquote. Well, thanks to the devs for their, quote, description of their app, Retsnom, and for sending in the promo codes to give away. Folks, if you would like a chance for this promo code for this app, please send in an email to todayinios@gmail.com and put Retsnom, that's monster spelled backwards, in the subject line. A quick reminder, if you're an app dev or an iBook author, email me if you want your app or iBook featured in the promo giveaway segment for free. We just need the 5 promo codes or more to give away. Simply email me at todayinios@gmail.com and please include a 60-second or less audio review of your app or iBook indicating you are the dev or the author. Also, when you send in those promo codes, please let me know when they expire. On Monday the 24th, Apple released iOS 10.1, tvOS 10.0.1, watchOS 3.1, and for the Mac crowd, macOS 10.12.1. It was a busy day for Apple servers. Per 10.1, the update notes had a lot of info in there listed per what was changed, updated/fixed. Start off with cameras and photos because that's clearly the biggest place. And Apple introduced portrait camera for iPhone 7 Plus. That creates a depth effect, the bokeh effect that we've talked about before, where your subject is sharp while creating a beautifully blurred background. This is listed as a beta. Without a doubt, if you own a iPhone 7 Plus, this is a killer feature, and you definitely want to upgrade just for this. I saw a comment from Tosano where he said, quote, "I honestly am not fused about portrait mode. Well, not for now anyway. Might change my mind when I see the pictures," unquote. Yes, Tosin, yes, you will change your mind once you see the pictures. And then he posted a little later on that, yep, he changed his mind. Nailed it. It is just so different than what you've ever seen and been able to do with a smartphone camera that, again, as I mentioned in the last episode, you start taking these depth effects photos of everything and everyone. I have one hanging on my fridge right now of my younger son flying a kite, and I did the depth effect on him, and the kite is all blurred in the background. It's a pretty cool picture. Tosin posted one of his coffee mug. Warning, it's addicting. Bokeh is da bomb. Okay, other changes for camera and photos include people's names in the Photos app are saved in iCloud backups. There's improved the display of wide color gamut photos in the grid views of the Photos app. Fixes an issue where opening the camera app would show a blurred or flashing screen for some users. Fixes an issue that caused photos to quit for some users when turning on iCloud photo library. Then there was updates to maps. Transit support for every major train, subway, ferry, and national bus line, as well as local bus systems for Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. Sign-based transit navigation, including layouts for all underground structures and walkways that connect large transit stations, and transit fare comparison when viewing alternate transit routes. In the messages, there is a new option to replay bubble and full screen effects. Message effects can play with reduced motion enabled now. Fixes an issue that could lead to contact names appearing incorrectly in messages. Addresses an issue where messages could open to a white screen. Addresses an issue that could prevent the report junk option from displaying with unknown senders. Fixes an issue where videos captured and sent in the Messages app could be missing audio. For Apple Watch, they add distance and average pace to workout summaries in the Activity app for outdoor wheelchair run pace and outdoor wheelchair walk pace. Fixes issues that may have prevented music playlists from syncing to Apple Watch. Addresses an issue that was preventing invitations and data to appear in activity sharing. Fixes an issue that was allowing activity sharing to update over cellular when manually disabled. And resolves an issue that was causing some third-party apps to crash when inputting text. Ooh, exciting stuff. Other improvements and fixes with 10.1 improves Bluetooth connectivity with third-party accessories. That's probably the biggest one outside of the bokeh effect. Improves AirPlay mirroring performance when awaking a device from sleep. Fixes an issue where playback would not work for iTunes purchased content when the Show iTunes Purchases setting is turned off. Fixes an issue where certain selfie apps and face filters used with the FaceTime HD camera on iPhone 7 and 7 Plus did not display a live preview. Fixes an issue in the health where individual strokes are converted to separate characters when using the Chinese handwriting keyboard. Improves performance of sharing websites from Safari to Messages. Fixes an issue in Safari that caused web previews in tab view to not display correctly. Fixes an issue that caused certain mail messages to be reformatted with very small text. Fixes an issue that caused some HTML email to be formatted incorrectly. Fixes an issue in some cases caused the search field to disappear in mail. And then there was the issue that could prevent Today View widgets from updating when launched. And the issue where weather widget sometimes failed to load data. And then the issue on the iPhone 7 where the home button click setting would not appear in search results. and fixes an issue that prevented spam alert extensions from blocking calls, and resolves an issue that could prevent alarm sounds from going off, fixes an issue where audio playback via Bluetooth would cause the Taptic engine to stop providing feedback for some users, and resolves an issue preventing some users from restoring from iCloud backup. That sounds like it's fixing a lot of bugs. Bingo! But the biggest item from 10.1 was this security fix. Quote, available for iPhone 5 and later, iPad 4th generation and later, iPod Touch 6th generation and later, impact viewing a maliciously crafted JPEG file may lead to arbitrary code execution. Description, a memory corruption issue was addressed through improved memory handling found by Marco Grassi at Marco Grass of Keen Lab at Keen_lab, unquote. This one item is why, unlike in the past where I say, wait, this time I'm saying, if you have not updated to 10.1, you need to. This security fix fixes a big hole where if you viewed, not downloaded and opened, but just viewed a malicious JPEG on a website, it could execute code on your device, meaning looking at an innocent-looking puppies or dandelion image could actually allow a bad guy to take control of your iOS device. So yeah, update to 10.1 ASAP. Even if this exploit was never out in the wild before, this patch now makes it known, and when it's known, you know it soon will be out in the wild. So no, 10.1 is not just about portrait mode for iPhone 7 Plus owners. It's about an update for all iOS users that can update to iOS 10.x. One thing I did not see clearly shown in Apple's list of what was updated was the fact that Apple with 10.1 quietly improved cellular performance for all iPhones with the update. If you were having issues with 4G and 3G signals dropping for no known or apparent reason, then this is the update you've been looking for. One of the things that 10.1 is also supposed to improve is battery life. Those two things could actually be tied together. I did run last week my iPhone after it was fully charged to see the type of battery life I could get when not tethering. This included when I went to the Entree Leadership Conference with Dave Ramsey all day. It was a really great event. Dave is an incredible speaker. That said, so this was a good kind of set of mixed use. There was no tethering, or I should say hotspotting. And I had 13 hours and 37 minutes of battery life with usage with 2% left. And that was with 34 hours and 31 minutes of standby. So I went a day, almost 2 days, a day and a half, I guess, of battery life on that iPhone, on my iPhone 7 Plus. So that was before 10.1. So if 10.1 does improve battery life, wow, because those numbers before 10.1 were pretty darn impressive, although I have to say I was actually running 10.1 beta. So it's not the gold master, but it was the beta. Now here is some feedback from listeners, and this is from Shannon H. Quote, I've been running the public beta for a while. I can't wait to update my wife's 6 Plus tonight so I can begin the bombardment of laser, fireworks, etc. I know I could have already, but we've both really disliked the motion effect, unquote. From Stan B, quote, I updated my Series 1 watch, Apple TV, and 2 iPads last night over the air with no problems. Will do the same with my 2 iPhones today, unquote. From Greg B, quote, I've updated 1 iPhone and 1 Apple TV so far with no issues. I will update the rest of my devices and computers as soon as possible. As usual, no reason to wait unless you are completely risk adverse, unquote. And then I got this email that came in. Hi, Rob. Love the show. As a blind person who uses VoiceOver, I was eagerly awaiting the 10.1 updates for iOS and tvOS. Apple introduced a multitude of bugs and annoyances for VoiceOver users in iOS and tvOS 10, many of which I and others have reported to Apple. So imagine my joy upon discovering that iOS 10.1 and tvOS 10.1 fixed exactly, 0 of them. The podcast app on Apple TV was made almost unusable with tvOS 10, and if anything, it is worse now. It seems that iOS 10.1 is Apple attempting to cram a few features they wish they had for 10.0. Perhaps they should rename this version 10.0 for real. And now kindly fix those bloody irritating bugs you introduced. I really wish I could revert my TV to 9.2.1. That version worked quite well, and I've been unable to discover any redeeming features in tvOS 10.x, even if the bugs didn't exist. Okay, enough rant. Thanks for the show. Regards, Kevin Barry. Back to email bag. Hi, Rob. I downloaded and installed the newly released iOS 10.1 on my iPad Mini 2 yesterday, October 24th. Among other bug fixes, Apple promised a fix for a very small text problem in their native mail app. Quote, fixes an issue that caused certain mail messages to be reformatted with very small text. Fixes an issue that caused some HTML email to be formatted incorrectly. Unquote. Since I had been experiencing the small text problem for some time on my iPad Mini, I was excited to get the problem fixed. However, the very small text problem was not fixed in the latest iOS 10.1 update, at least not for me. The text in my mail did appear as normal size for several hours, but when I opened my mail app this morning, the text had again returned to its small size. I am using AOL and Exchange Mail accounts, rebooting, closing the mail app, resetting the text size in accessibility and in display settings all fix the problem, but only temporarily. Then something causes the small text size to return after a few hours. Does anyone know how to fix this? Resetting network settings didn't work either. Regards, Michael D. Well, folks, if anyone has a solution for Michael D., please give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG. Or shoot an email to todayandios@gmail.com. On Thursday, the 27th, Apple will have an October event with hello again being the key word in the invite. That is clearly a reference to updated computers. The event will be the 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Standard Apple event times, as always. Speculation around this event is pretty much it being Mac-centric. New MacBook Pros and new MacBook Airs are expected. Some speculation about updated Mac Pros and Mac Minis and possibly even updated iMacs. Again, Mac-heavy for this event. For iOS side of things, expect the new AirPods to be officially launched, either available in the store on the 27th or for order on the 27th. But I would expect some amount available in the Apple stores on the 27th or 28th, might be the 28th. As the website for Apple does say, they are available late October. And I'll mention later, there's the new Nike Apple Watch. It's going to be on the 28th as well. So it probably makes sense that the AirPods are going to be on the 28th. And traditionally in Apple lingo, available means you can also put it in your hand, so not just available to order. So most likely, come Friday the 28th, you'll be able to go into an Apple store and buy the AirPods. But don't forget to check the website on the 27th because it might be available to order then. If there is anything else that is announced that is iOS related, I may do a blog post at todayandios.com and in the TI app, of course, to go over what is announced. I will not be putting out another episode this month, as I will be taking a couple of vacation days this week and weekend as my parents are coming to visit. Of course, if the Apple AirPods are available to buy this week, if you do get them, please call into the show, 206-666-6364, from your new AirPods, and let us know your thoughts. I'd like to hear what the sound quality is like. So again, call in or use them to record on your iPhone and then email it to me at todayandios@gmail.com. I do plan to get them as soon as they are available, but would love your feedback and thoughts as well. The only thing that beats an iPhone is a new iPhone, and the only razor blade to beat a Harry's razor is a new Harry's razor. With Harry's new Gen 2 razor head, they took the best razor and made it the bestest razor I've ever used. And Harry's has also a brand new offer for you. Harry's is so confident in the quality of their blades, they'll send you their popular free trial set, which comes with the razor and Gen 2, 5-blade cartridge, and shaving gel, all free when you sign up for a shave plan. You're just paying shipping. Plus, there's an additional special offer for you great folks. Just enter the code TII at checkout to get a free post-shave balm added to your order. Harry's post-shave balm is incredible. It soothes, it moisturizes, and best of all, My wife says it makes me smell really good, really, really good. So good, in fact, wearing it now has somehow become code. Per their Gen 2 blade, it is still the great 5-blade razor, but they made some improvements. It is more flexible for better control and more comfortable shaving. They added a 6-blade at the top for trimming hard-to-reach spots, and they still, of course, have the lubricating strip. I don't just shave my face. If you've met me, you know I shave my whole head. And before Harry's, I traded a lot of different blades, all the expensive 4 and 5 blades out there, and the Gen 1 was better than all of them, and the Gen 2 is better than the Gen 1. Harry's moved the bar, folks. I am 100% a Harry's customer, period. Here's a little funny story. This past weekend, I'm at Worlds of Fun, and right before we left to go with the family, I shaved the head, shaved the face, did all that. One of the things they had at Worlds of Fun was guess your age. And I went up, and where they're supposed to guess your age, and the guy writes down the age, writes down 29. I'm 49. So the guy's like, you need to go over to the other side of the park and do it again. So I won that stuffed animal. I went over to the other side. They said 35. Why? Because when I shave with the Harry's razor, all the gray, gone. Nice close shave, makes my skin look good. The shave balm made me look vibrant. 29, 35. I'm 49. That's how old people guessed I was. Thank you, Harry's. And after the second one guessed 35, my wife turned to me and said, you know you're buying me Botox for Christmas. I was like, okay, Cougar. Shh, don't tell her I said that. Anyway, back to getting the bestest blades ever. Harry's went and found a German blade factory that was almost 100 years old and purchased it. Harry's owns the most important part of the razor, the blade, and by cutting out the middleman on both sides, that means they can keep the price low to you. Plus, Harry's as an organization helps those looking for jobs by donating 1% of their time and 1% of their sales to help people prepare for professional success. Yes, a shave that feels great from a company you can feel great about. Once again, go to harrys.com right now and enter coupon code TII at checkout to claim your free trial set and free post-shave balm. That's harrys.com, and then enter coupon code TII to start shaving better.
Hi, Rob. This is Dave from sunny San Diego, California. I'm a longtime listener, and this is my second time calling into the show. I've always owned a iPhone since the first gen, and recently upgraded to the 7 Plus model. For someone like myself who always settled for a smaller 5-inch or iPhone, I decided to go with the Plus model. Just simply for the more real estate and a better camera. But I found that typing on the 7 Plus is somewhat difficult. I'm also a jailbreaker, and I can't wait for the next utility to come out. But one of the features that I was accustomed to for years on my jailbroken iPhones was a tweak called swipe selection. Now, I believe you touched on this when the 6S Plus was launched and 3D Touch was introduced to the iPhone. But I thought that with those of us who are now upgrading to phones from maybe a 6 or maybe a 5, and we're now new to the 3D Touch features, I thought it would be helpful to let some of our new typers on these larger phones, make them aware of this feature, what's called swipe selection. Now, swipe selection is the jailbreak tweak, but Apple basically incorporated this feature into their OS for 3D Touch devices. And basically, you just long press on the keyboard and you enact this feature where you can swipe the cursor across the screen, up or down, to correct any misspelled words or any punctuations or whatnot. But I just learned that it actually goes a step further, that if you are in that mode where the cursor is moving around, if you land on a word and you then basically simulate a firmer press, a double firmer press, it'll actually select that word. And if you continue to swipe your finger across the screen while that word is selected, it will continue to select other words in the paragraph. So if you wanted to enact, like, let's say, the cut feature, or if you wanted to just take out a whole section of something that you just wrote, instead of just using the backspace whenever you move the cursor to that area, instead of using the backspace, you can just press firmer or press firmer twice over a certain word and continue to swipe the cursor across, and it'll select all of the words. And then you can, go ahead and continue with your editing. I thought that was just something, that was great that I just realized that I can do on my phone. And I know that, some of us who may be new to these larger phones, that it'll be beneficial to help, with texting and editing and so forth. And just one last thing, I know that this is also something that you've previously talked about in other episodes, but for 3D touch devices, to quickly get to your card switcher, you don't necessarily need to double press on the home button. If you long press on the phone, you will enact the card switcher, and you can actually switch between apps or to just go halfway over, and it'll open up your app switcher. That's another tweak that was, on the jailbreaks thing for quite some time. But, with this new phone, it's not jailbroken. But it's good to see that some of these features that I've been used to on the jailbroken device has now been incorporated into my standard OS, and, I don't have to deal with the other security issues. So just wanted to just give that a quick call, and hopefully that helped out some users. Thanks a lot, Rob. Bye.
Dave, thank you for that very detailed feedback. And then I had this email here on the same subject from Shannon Holden. Actually, was in the Google Plus community. He said, quote, I just discovered that you can use the stock iOS keyboard on the iPhone as a trackpad to move the cursor around while typing. I'm not sure when this became available, just 3D touch on the keyboard and it grays out all the keys. And this is the most exciting feature I've seen in a long time, unquote. Now, those of you with the iPhone 6S and 6S Plus already knew about this feature as it came out with iOS 9, but for new iPhone 7 and 7 Plus users coming from something other than the 6S or 6S Plus, this is a cool new feature that should be mentioned again and again. And if you have an iPad, or at least for most iPads, you can also do the same thing by tapping and holding two fingers on your keyboard. This is a really nice way to accurately and quickly get your cursor where it needs to be when typing. I use this all the time on the iPad Pro. So again, two fingers on the iPad Pro, tap and hold, or if you have a 6S or later iPhone, or newer iPhone, I should say, 6S or newer iPhone, you can, 3D touch and on the keypad, and it becomes a trackpad.
Hey, Rob, this is Angel from Virginia. I'm calling because a caller in the last show left some feedback. I believe the caller was from the UK about music controls and podcast controls disappearing on the phone. Yeah, I'm having that same problem. It's really, really frustrating. The album artwork disappears and all you see is a musical note. And soon after the album artwork disappears, so do the controls. I have to hit the pause and play button once for everything to come back. So it's really, really frustrating. I thought it was my phone. I thought I had a bad phone, and I actually tested the software on a iPhone 6, and it was doing the same thing. So it's on Apple's end. And so, yeah, I'm getting that. I'm on the beta, the beta 4, public beta 4. And it's still doing the same thing, so they haven't fixed it yet. I'm really hoping they do. And another problem I'm having is the notification centers. I don't know if anybody's having this problem, but after you get so many, they start to overlap, and you can't read what's behind it. If anybody's getting this, temporary fix is to not dismiss any of the notifications, but reboot it. Reboot the phone, and when it comes back, all the notifications will be there, and you'll be able to read them. There won't be, but that's a temporary fix because eventually it goes back to that. So I'm on the public beta. I've submitted it to Apple. I'm going to keep submitting it. Hopefully they'll fix it because it's getting really frustrating with all these bugs they got, man. It just can't. Oh, and also he mentioned about the Apple Maps crashing. It's doing the same thing to me. Crashes all the time. Sometimes it gets to the point where I don't even use Apple Maps anymore. I go to Google Maps. Works like a charm. Never fails me. So I don't know what's going on with Apple these days, man. I mean, it just ain't the same, but I hope they fix it. But anyway, all right, man. Great show, man. You're doing a good job. All right, bye.
Angel, thanks for your feedback. And if anyone has a solution for Angel and the caller from the last show, Let us know, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG, or shoot an email to todayinios@gmail.com. We are now over 3,500 members in our Google Plus community and growing. Thanks to everyone that has joined, and thanks for the great posts. Since the last episode, there are always dozens and dozens and dozens of new posts and comments in the TII Google Plus community, which is an Android fanboys free zone and a spammer free zone. Yep, it is the most civil Google Plus community covering iOS. Folks, go to todayinios.com/community to join in. And thanks to all 3,500 plus of you already in the community and contributing. From the Google Plus community were these comments per the last episode, which I always pin the last episode at the top of the community, so you can comment on the most recent episode. From John Poyser, quote, I had to wipe and reset up my new iPhone with iOS 10 to try and resolve some glitches and crashes I was experiencing. Most issues are resolved, and the rest I can live with until 10.1 comes out, but now I have to redo all the battery tweaks I've done over months. I heard people mentioning a recent podcast covering this. Is it written down in a post, or can someone tell me how to find the episode of TII that covered it, unquote? And then from Shannon Holden, quote, at John Poyser, go to the TI app, then go to the PDF section. There you will find 19 battery saving tips. I believe this is what you're looking for, unquote. And then from Francisco Tapia, quote, to Shannon and to me, the iOS 8 PDF, question mark? Battery saving should be as easy as just turning on low power mode, question mark. I mean, you pretty much get there by following the PDF, unquote. For me, well, low power mode will turn off some features and limit others more than you may want. Going item by item allows you to customize more for what is important to you. Low power mode basically lobotomizes your iPhone. And low power mode causes frustration if you are actually trying to be active, using your iPhone, like locking and turning off the screen in 30 seconds. And there are other items as well. So it is better to optimize the iPhone per your individual use case needs, and that PDF helps. But yes, it is also 2 years old, and there are new features that need to be shown that, when turned off, will help improve battery life. It's coming. I promise someday it's coming. I'm working on it. And then from John Poser, quote, thanks to all that shared the info. I like using the incremental method in the PDF because I like to control the features and apps that use the juice. I feel that low power mode is my emergency battery life extender only for those times I need my phone to last and know I won't be able to charge, like when I'm on the conference floor or on the last day of a long business trip when nothing's going right, unquote. Exactly, John. Low power mode is when you need your smartphone to be just a phone. That is how I look at it, or as I just said before, when you find it is okay to lobotomize your iPhone for the sake of keeping the phone at part active, then low power mode can be used. But the rest of the time, you probably want to stay away from it. Into the email bag. Hi, Rob. For some reason, anytime I post something to the Today in iOS Google Plus community, it shows up for a few seconds, then goes away. Have I done something to offend your filtering system there? Thanks for all you do. Love the podcast and all the posts in the community. Regards, Guy Whelan. Hi, Guy. Sadly, sometimes Google will mark posts for review thinking they are spam. And the sad part is, I don't get an email saying the posts need to be reviewed and approved. I must log in and manually check. As such, there are some times that they sit for approval for a couple days, a few days. Nothing I can do if Google thinks it's questionable. They just flag it for review. You could always email me letting me know if your post is not showing. Otherwise, you need to wait until I get around to reviewing those posts the next time I log in to check for those things. Switching gears, seems when Apple made the new iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, they did not use the same manufacturers of chips for the modems. They sourced from Qualcomm and Intel. The Qualcomm chips are in the Verizon, Sprint, and SIM-free models. The Intel chips are in the T-Mobile and AT&T models. And people have been doing some testing, mind you, pre-iOS 10.1 testing, so results may have changed some, but initial testing showed some clear results. Those with the Qualcomm chips had a clear and significant modem performance edge over the Intel chips, at least when there is any drop-off or degradation in signal level. I will not go over the megabyte throughput versus signal strength, other than to say, it did not take much to drop off in signal level to start the Intel version dropping off in data throughput. One other thing, in the Qualcomm chip versions, they're only sold in the US, China, and Japan. So pretty much everyone else is getting the Intel version or the not as fast version. So not all iPhone 7s and 7 Pluses are created equal. Or put another way, if your choice is between one of the 4 carriers and the SIM-free version and you're in the US, get the SIM-free version. But that's not the only place there's differences. Another place where there is a difference in performance is in write speeds. Seems the 32 gigabit iPhone 7 and 7S write at a significantly slower speed than the 128 and 256 gig versions. Read speeds, what you do most often, is the same, but write speeds are quite a bit different. So if you were looking for another reason not to get the 32 gig version, the write speed is 1, but a really small one. In day-to-day use, it is read speed that you need to be concerned about, with, again, that being the same for both all 3 units. But when you initially are setting up your iPhone 7 or 7 Plus from a backup, yeah, at that point, you'll be glad you have the faster write speed for the 128 and 256 versions. Of course, writing 100 gig to a 256 gig version is still going to take longer than writing 20 gig to the 32 gig version. Technically, there is a difference between the 32 gig version and the 128 and 256 gig versions, which if you listened to me at the beginning and did not get the 32 gig version, you would not need for me now to try and downplay the differences, and you could just say, whew, glad I got the 128 gig or 256 gig version. And really glad if it is the Verizon, Sprint, or SIM-free 128 or 250 gig version, because that one is the bomb. Apple made one announcement before the Hello Again event, and that is that on Friday, October 28th, the special Apple Watch Nike Plus, or AWN Plus, for all you runners out there, will be finally available for you to pick up just prior to your long weekend runs. The AWN Plus will be available in 38 and 42 millimeter aluminum cases. It is the second gen Series 2 Apple Watch, so it's fully waterproof. So yes, you can wear it during your triathlons. Pricing is $369 for the 38 millimeter, $399 for the 42 millimeter versions. It will be available on the 28th in Australia, Austria, Agamato, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, China, Colombia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Hungary, India, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Luxembourg, Macau, Malaysia, Mexico, Monaco, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Puerto Rico, Singapore, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Switzerland, Russia, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, Vishanti, the UK, and the US. Then on the 29th in Bahrain, Greece, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And then on the 30th in Israel. So lots of places, 28th, 29th, and 30th. Into the email bag. Hey Rob, I got my Best Buy pre-order for the Apple Watch Series 2 Space Black Stainless Steel. All I can say is I love this thing. I can't believe how much faster it is than my Series 0 aluminum. I like the weight too. Good upgrade. Regards, Oshkosh Josh. Well, thanks, Oshkosh Josh, for your feedback. And now it's time to go over the changes for Watch OS 3.x. We haven't gone over that yet since it launched, and there's actually 2 versions to go over, 3.0 and 3.1. To start with, the biggest change, when you tap the side button, it is now a quick link to a new dedicated dock, no longer to the list of friends. There are new complications and watch faces, including fitness-focused options. Swipe up on the face for Control Center and swipe left or right to switch faces. A new Breathe app helps you relax, except when I don't actually have time to breathe and relax. Having it remind me I need to makes me even more stressed, which then makes me want to get up and get a cookie. I eat when I'm stressed, which is really bad because the ping to remind me to stand up was already getting cookies, so now I'm double on the cookies. Not good. Some other new things. Send text message directly from your Apple Watch by scribbling letters on the screen, which is something I have used a few times, and well, it has a ways to go to understand my finger writing. But when it works, it's cool. New apps, Reminders, Home, Find My Friends, Heart Rate all came with iOS 3.0. When you use the Workout app, there is a quick start feature which speeds up getting your workout started. I love that new feature. Emergency SOS was added, so you just hold down the button for a few seconds, and it can then dial 911 on your phone and notify your emergency contacts. One of the best new features, however, for Watch OS 3.x isn't a feature, it's just the speed in which apps, especially third-party apps, open. Much, much snappier and faster. As mentioned earlier, Watch OS 3.1 was just released, and for the most part, it is mostly about bug fixes. Here's a list of the key things that changed in 3.1. There's a new option to replay bubble and full screen effects in messages. Message effects can play with reduced motion enabled. It fixes an issue that could pause the notification for timer complete to be delivered twice. Resolves an issue that could prevent Apple Watch Series 2 from fully charging. That would be a problem. Resolves an issue where activity rings may disappear from the watch face, and fixes an issue that prevented force touch options from appearing in some third-party apps. So there are the nice roundabout 3.1, again, mostly about bug fixes. And if you haven't checked out the TII app and the watch version of the TII app, you can actually download a copy of the TII episode into your Apple Watch and then go off on your run and not even have to have your phone around, and you can listen to this episode while you're running, not even anywhere near your phone. We are now starting to see some speed tests between the Google Pixel and the iPhone 7 Plus come out. In benchmark tests, not even close. The 7 Plus more than doubled the single core benchmark speed scores. It was for the 7 Plus 3488 to the Pixel 1565. Higher is better. And ouch if you're the Pixel. Remember, single core is where most of your apps live and breathe. But in the multi-core speeds, the 7 Plus was still a lot faster, just not that dominant. It was 5590 versus 4103. Still higher is better, and the 7 Plus was still much, much higher. In real-world testing, some launching of the stock apps went to the 7 Plus, some went to the Pixel. But when it came to games, forget about it. The 7 Plus destroyed the Pixel. This comes back to those benchmark scores, and many games push the smartphone limits. I mean, sure, run launching a calculator or some other very basic app, and it's a 50-50 who's going to win. But when it comes down to the real apps that require any power of computation, CPU usage, 7 Plus just blew it away. Now, the most likely smartphone that's going to come out that will finally beat the 7 Plus in speed tests, that'll be the 7S Plus or the 8 Plus or the iPhone Pro or whatever the next gen 5.5-inch iPhone is called. Until then, doesn't look like there's anything coming from the Android side that's going to beat it in speed tests. But we should see. We got a long ways to go before the next iPhone comes out. But for now, nothing is close on the bench and in real world for graphic CPU intensive applications. On the front for lightweight apps, again, the 7 Plus and the Pixel were pretty much even. I mean, the Pixel is the best right now of the Android smartphones out there that doesn't explode or catch houses or buildings or airplanes on fire. So from the non-combustible Android world, the Pixel's probably the best Android phone out there. We have a new dog, and he is supposed to be taking turns sleeping with the boys. One night with one night with the other. The last few nights, I say, "Who are you sleeping with?" And each time he would run into my son's Henry's room. And then it dawned on me, oh yeah, he has the Casper mattress. Smart dog. Casper mattresses are a mix of latex foam and memory foam. No noisy springs to be woken up by your master or significant other that gets up in the middle of the night. Time magazine even named it one of the best inventions of 2015. And with Casper, you get a 100-day risk-free trial period. You don't like it, you get your money back, and they come and pick it up and donate it to charity. Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. Twin mattresses are just $500. They also have Twin XL for $600, Full at $750, Queen at $850, King and California Kings at $950. That is less, much less than my iPad Pro setup. And as I said, you have 100 days to return it risk-free. And if you go to casper.com/TII and then use promo code TII, you'll save $50 off of those prices. Terms and conditions apply. This is an American-made mattress with delivery right now for the US and Canada only, and it is free delivery. And when said mattress is delivered, it is from UPS in a squarish box that you think, no way is there a mattress in there. But yes way, there is. And you get this cool little tool to cut open the package, and the mattress opens and expands to form It really, really is cool. Just Google Casper mattress unboxing. You'll love the videos. Winter is coming, and snuggling down with a thick blanket or 2 or 3 is made even better when the mattress under those blankets is really comfortable. Again, to save $50 off the prices I mentioned, go to casper.com/TII and use promo code TII, all lowercase on the promo code. Again, casper.com/TII, promo code TII to save $50. Thanks, Casper, for the great mattress and for sponsoring this show.
Hey, Rob. This is Joe from Louisville, Kentucky. To the gentleman who was calling, I think he was from Hawaii last week, he was stating that, Samsung is the curve over iPhone, and that simply isn't true. I mean, if you look at, for example, their fingerprint to unlock the screen, it's not as secure as iOS and actually has been a joke. There's been several blogs written, I can email you a few of them, several articles written from tech people that, basically it's just not as secure. So yes, while Android does implement some new features, they also have a lot of issues that people don't talk about. Like he was talking about the Retina screen scanner for his wife's Samsung. Is that just I haven't really done a lot of research on this, but is it actually something that works, or is it just a gimmick? A lot of their things that they debut over there are just gimmicks, and that's the thing you have to be careful of. And just because something has something on it doesn't mean that piece of technology is tested or actually really works. Every time iOS gets an update or we get something new, I've never once said, this doesn't work. I mean, there are certain things they update or change that don't make sense to me, but Touch ID, Siri, all those things have been implemented and they just work well. I don't know. I just think that, it sounds like he wanted to maybe just was upset with Apple. And that's fine. You can leave. No one's saying you have to stay. A 5-inch phone across, I don't think that's going to happen either. So, if you're not happy with the technology that Apple is putting out there, I mean, no one's making you stay. I guess my advice is, before commenting on Retina scanners and saying Apple is behind the curve, you should probably do some research and make sure those Retina scanners are actually working. Enjoy the show, Rob. Haven't called in a long time, but I was listening to that call and it made me motivated to call in. So thanks for all that you do. Take care.
Joe, thanks for the feedback. And remember, folks, if you'd like to call into the show, just give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-Moondog, or shoot an email to todayinios@gmail.com. Back to the email bag. Hi, Rob. Last year, I made my first Apple purchase, an iPhone 6S Plus. I am blind, and Apple seemed to be the most accessible to the blind of all my options. I was just about to purchase an iPad Pro when the iPhone 7 was introduced without a headphone jack, and now I'm wondering if it's a mistake to invest in an ecosystem that is eliminating the headphone jack. I need to switch my headphones quickly between devices, including devices without a lightning connector, and Bluetooth lag is a killer for voiceover users. Will Apple be eliminating the headphone jack from iPads and computers in the near future? How can I efficiently switch a pair of headphones from analog to digital test equipment, audio recording devices, and whatnot, and iOS products in the future? They say Android is catching up in accessibility, and I'd like to have to learn as few operating systems and their accessibility gestures as possible. Should I get a Windows tablet instead of an iPad Pro? This headphone jack issue is really concerning to me. Thanks for your advice. Regards, Greg A. in Pennsylvania. Greg, my recommendation is stick with iOS. And if you get an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus in the future, or some other future iPhone, then just get a dongle or an adapter for the 1/8 inch headphones so that you can use the same headphones between devices. No, it's not perfect, but I think you will find the accessibility features on iOS are still much, much better solution than what you're going to get on Android. Back to the email bag. Hi, Rob. Per the last episode, I tried a while back to do a credit card dispute for a project I funded that was a no-show, and they told me since it was too long ago, I was pretty much out of luck. Is the law 6 months or something like that? Many projects take so long that what can we do when we're supposed to dispute it 1 or 2 months after the delivery date? And even by by the time we paid and the time we were disputing, it's well past 6 months from when we paid or more. So what's to do? Regards, Michael. Well, Michael, yeah, that is a quandary, especially, when you order something in April and you pay in April and it's supposed to deliver in October, and then comes January when you realize, I'm not getting this, and well, maybe I'll hold out. Now it's February, and also now you're almost 12 months out from when you originally ordered it and realizing that, I want to dispute this. So that's something you have to talk with your individual credit card company about. And again, remember, Kickstarter projects, Indiegogo projects, you have to think of them as a risky investment. It's not a store. When you buy it, I know people want to say it's a store. It's not a store. It's an investment platform. You're investing in the project. Hopefully those investments pay off and you get a project at a lower than retail price and you help fund it and get it going. But it's not a store. And speaking of Kickstarter, this week I was going to talk about Aux Elite, which is a dongle type solution for adding, powering, and listening to your iPhone 7, 7 Plus. I say was because then some others warned me not to do it and read the comments. And I have reached out to the project developer for comments per the concerns some folks had. And if they reply before the next episode, I will mention that on what their reply was. But reality is, that one seems to have question marks about it. And then to make matters worse, the project IL Dock, the one that I did fund that I talked about, which was the dongles. Well, I got this message from Kickstarter today. Hello, this is the message from Kickstarter's integrity team. We're writing to notify you that IL Dock, charge and listen to iPhone 7 at the same time, is suspended. Project has been suspended and your $31 US pledge has been canceled. A review of the project uncovered evidence that it broke Kickstarter rules. We may suspend projects when they demonstrate one or more of the following: offering purchased items they claim to have made themselves, presenting someone else's work as their own, misrepresenting or failing to disclose relevant facts about the project or its creator. Accordingly, all funding has been stopped and backers will not be charged for their pledges. No further action is required on your part. We take the integrity of the Kickstarter system very seriously. We only suspend projects when we find strong evidence that they are misrepresenting themselves or otherwise violating the letter or spirit of the Kickstarter rules. As a policy, we do not offer comment on project suspensions beyond what is stated in this message. Regards, Kickstarter integrity team. Seems this issue was them claiming to be MFI certified, which it sure sounded like they were when you read it, but they weren't, and they were going to apply for it. And then they made comments, even in their own comments. They said, be honest, we're not going to probably be certified before this ships. And that got them booted. Honesty is always the best policy. So sadly, for all of us that sponsored the IL Dock, not going to happen. So I don't know if they're going to move over to Indiegogo or what they're going to do. I had communicated with their main developer before. I've got an email in asking what's going on with this. It just happened today, just a few hours before I went to recording. So hopefully the next episode, which again will be in about 2 weeks, I'll have an update on this. But right now, if you had sponsored the IL Dock, you got an email or will be getting an email from Kickstarter telling you that that project has been suspended and you are not going to be charged for it. And then speaking of Kickstarter, here's one that actually did ship, the Fireflies, that we mentioned that back on episode 398, and they've started to making its way to the listeners. Here is one email on this. Hey, Rob, thank you for mentioning these on the podcast. I love them, Jessica in PA. And then from Jerome Horowitz on Google+, who said he got the Firefly Kickstarter earbuds on Friday. They had a seriously poor Bluetooth connection. Then he updated to iOS 10.1 and now flawless connection. And then others on Twitter and social media reached out to say they got theirs as well. Their feedback and comments were not as kind. Let me read a couple of those. On Twitter from ONKS100, he stated that he was having issues with his left earbud cutting out. I asked him if he had updated to 10.1. He said he did, and it didn't make any difference. From Keith Lunsford, He says he didn't even get his review finished for the show, and a charging pin in the case broke. Guess we'll see how well that warranty works. So one person is having an issue where one of the earbuds doesn't sound as good, and another one is having an issue where one of the charging pins already broke in the case. Definitely not the best start out the gate for the Fireflies. Will be interesting to hear how they handle the issues for these two users, and if they replace them, or if there's some other update that gets them to work on the one that's not physically damaged, that is, the one where the one earbud is lower. If your Fireflies came, hey, at least they came, right? These guys are lucky. They're getting their Kickstarter projects. So if your Fireflies came, give us a call, 206-666-6364. Please call in from the Fireflies. I'd love to hear how they sound. And let us know how they work and what you're thinking of them. And really, folks, that goes for any Kickstarter project that you've heard on the show that you wind up buying and then actually get. Give us a call or shoot us an email. Give us a review of your thoughts of the project that you got because you heard about it on this show.
Hi, I'm Kevin Tula, the lead iOS dev at Spearman. Spearman is the easiest way to record and share conversations from your smartphone and is available now for iOS and Android. With Spearman, you can share what you love with anyone. It's perfect for interviews, micro-podcasting, or simply talking with someone about a topic you care about. Our community has created and shared conversations on topics like current events, lifestyle and career advice, hot new Kickstarter projects, and even recaps of new episodes of TV shows. Whatever your interests are, Spearman lets you share your perspective with the world. Spearman was built entirely in the Swift programming language and is available for free on the App Store. Find me on Spearman at KC2Lod to talk to me about the app, the Swift language, or iOS development. Thanks, and we can't wait to hear your conversations on Spearman.
Remember, if you're an app dev and you have a free app and you'd like to get it promo played on the show, just email in the promo like the folks at Spearman, Sparemin, did, and you'll get your free promo played on the show. Into the email bag we go. Hi, Rob. Greetings from sunny Sitka. I have scanned several hundred old family photos, and I want to put several lines of text on them so that my great-grandkids know something about their family history. I am looking for a voiceover friendly app or iPad or something from my PC. Please send this out to your listeners. Regards, Bob Purvis, Sitka. Well, I'm sending it out to listeners. If anyone has any ideas for Bob where he can put several lines of text on his photos and help out so that it stays with each photo, some information about each one, let us know the best app for adding, I guess, description or information on a photo.
Hey, Rob, this is Brent out here in Oklahoma City. I have a question to put out there for the listeners. I am looking for a battery case for the iPhone 7, the 4.7-inch model. All of the battery cases I found so far tell you that it's for the 7, but you still have to charge it with the micro USB cord, so it's not really for the 7 because you can't use Lightning headphones. So it's a little bit misleading that they do that and that they say that. So I'm looking for a battery case that actually uses a Lightning cable to charge it and that will work with Lightning headphones. And I'm not interested in the Apple case because I don't really care for the way that works. You can't really turn it off. It basically always charges. It's always charging your phone until the case is dead, and then your phone battery takes over at that point. So I also don't care for the way it looks because it has like a big hump on the back like it's pregnant. Anyway, if there's anybody out there that knows of a battery case that has good grip to it, I found a case online from Power Plus Cases, but it's aluminum, so it's basically just as slick as the phone is. And I'm looking for something that has some grip to it, that's not super thick, but yet they basically would give me 80% to 100% extra charge would be fine, and that actually is truly for the 7 with a Lightning cable charge connection as well as will work with the Lightning headphones. And I did find one that charges with the Lightning cable, but it does not work with the Lightning headphones. So anyway, I don't know, maybe it's just too early, since the 7's so new, for there to be a case out there that's truly for the 7. But if somebody knows of one, they could please call in and let you know. I would sure appreciate it. And I'm sure there's probably some other people out there that would appreciate it as well. Anyway, as always, I appreciate it. Appreciate you and what you do. Thanks. Bye.
Ren, thanks for the voicemail message. You might be too early yet. I looked around a little. I didn't see anything. But if anyone knows of a case for the iPhone 7, battery case for the iPhone 7 that has lightning pass-through for the headphones, which I hadn't thought about that issue, which obviously is a big one. Now that you think about it, yeah, you can't really use your headphones if it's not lightning pass-through. And a lot of the older cases didn't do that. They did the micro USB on the outside. So that's kind of a big deal, Brent. So obviously myself and everyone else for iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, if anyone knows of any cases that allow your headphones to work through the lightning on the outside, please give us a call, 206-666-6364. That's 206-MOONDOG, or shoot an email to todayinios@gmail.com. All right, we finally get now to Apple's quarterly conference call. If you go into the TI app and you look in the bonus content for episode 411, you'll see a PDF. That PDF has charts that show the trends for iPhones and iPads and how many have been purchased and all a bunch of other different things. I update that every quarter. Again, that's for episode 411. Bonus content, you will see the PDF there. Now, let's get into the call. One thing to remember, the last quarter, they had one additional week of new iPhone sales versus the same quarter a year ago. In other words, they started selling it a week earlier at the end of the quarter. So they had 8 days of sales versus a year ago where they had 2 days, or maybe it was 9 days versus 2 days. In any case, they had an extra week. Tim said results were very strong and on the high end of their guidance, but in the guidance range. And then Apple reported a lot of downs versus the same quarter a year ago. Revenue, profit, EPS, iPhone sales, iPad sales, Mac sales, and gross margin, all down versus the same quarter a year ago. The only up was services, up 24% to $6.325 billion. Starting with the iPhones, iPhone sales for the calendar Q3 2016 quarter were 45.5 million units versus 48.1 million units a year ago, or a 5.4% decline versus the year ago quarter, which is smaller than the previous quarter's 15% decline. I mean, if you're really looking for a positive spin, that is. Also, back in July, the analysts estimated that last quarter would be 43 million units sold on average. However, right before the earnings call, the analyst's average estimate had risen to 45.3 million, which is pretty much dead nuts on. So congrats to all of the analysts as a group combined, but specifically to T. Michael Walkley from Canaccord Genuity with a guess of 45.65 million iPhone units sold last quarter, as he was closest to the pin. Tim Cook said the iPhone 7 supply probably should equal demand before the end of the quarter, but the iPhone 7 Plus demand would likely remain greater than supply throughout the whole quarter and into 2017. And right now, Apple was very supply constrained with regards to the iPhone 7 Plus. They had basically said somewhere in the quarterly call that they underestimated the demand for the 7 Plus as far as the ratio for units sold versus the 7. For the iPhones that were sold last quarter, the ASPs were up a little bit, up to $619 for Q3 2016 versus an ASP of $595 in Q2 2016. While that is up, that is still lower than the traditional range of $650 to $700, which we had seen the 6 quarters prior to Q2 of this year. So it's up, but it's not back to where Apple would like to see it, which is in that $650 to $700 range. iPad sales for the last quarter were 9.3 million units versus 9.9 million in the year ago quarter. This seems to be where the iPad is settling into for a base of sales in the non-holiday periods. Turning now to cash, as they always say. Yeah, Apple has all of it. Or, well, 237.6 billion of the cash out there, and 91% of that cash is not in the US. Now, that's actually down from 93% that was not in the US 3 months ago. So they actually have more percentage or larger percentage of the cash now in the US. That said, Apple still returned over $9 billion to investors last quarter. If you are an investor, you will be getting 2 quarters, a nickel, and 2 pennies for each share of Apple stock you own, assuming you are still an owner come early November. Looking forward, Apple gave some guidance, and a key part of this guidance was that Apple would return to growth this quarter, after 3 quarters, of opposite of growth year over year. An interesting factoid, Tim said that there are 2 billion with a B requests a week for Siri. And saying factoid will probably get me an email from a certain person. Again, numbers were lower all around versus the year ago quarter, same as the last 2 quarters, but Tim does seem to think we will see growth for this quarter, which I thought Wall Street would be all giddy about. But in after-hour tradings, Apple was down about $2, so go figure. Should point out, I own Apple stock, and I am clearly long on Apple for full and fair disclosure. At the end, they had some Q&A with the analysts, and one of those analysts, I guess, that does not want to be on Tim Cook's Christmas card list is Stephen, I got the biggest, Milanovich, who asked, quote, does Apple today have a grand strategy for what you want to do? I know you won't tell us what it is, but do you know what you want to do over the next 3 to maybe 5 years? Or is it more a read the market and quickly react, unquote? Or put another way, Tim, do you know what you are doing, or are you just winging it, hoping for the best and reacting when things don't work out? Or put another way, Tim, do you have a clue? Was essentially what Stephen, who is going to get those big ones cut off, Milanovich asked. Tim was pretty terse in his response, and rightly so. He said, quote, we have the strongest pipeline that we've ever had, and we're really confident about the things in it. But as usual, we're not going to talk about what's ahead. And if you don't like that answer, you can shove it up your pipeline, unquote. Okay, I might have embellished a bit there on that last part of the quote, but you know that's what Tim was thinking. But if that was not enough, Stephen, I don't ever want to be allowed to step foot in Apple Campus Milanovich, asked the following follow-up. And this is no joke. He really asked this question. Quote, but in terms of your approach, I guess, to new products, do you have a strong sense of where technology is going and where you're going to play? Unquote. Which is like asking, well, do you have a strong sense of where technology is going and where you're going to play? Which is about as insulting a question you could possibly ask the CEO of the largest tech company or any tech company, period. To which Tim responded, quote, actually, Steve-O, we define our roadmap once a year on Take Your Child to Work Day. We let the kids pick the next round of products each year, and then afterwards we have a bunch of scary clowns chase the kids around campus whose picks last year didn't pan out. It's a wonderful time, and has helped make us the biggest tech company in the world, unquote. Which was actually slightly less ridiculous of an answer than the question Mr. Milanovich asked to start with. What the heck was Steve-O thinking? It will be interesting to see what happens with Apple stock over the next couple months. Apple, again, is projecting growth this quarter, which is something they haven't had the last 3 quarters. That's year-over-year growth. We will see how things work out for Apple on Wall Street, but this is at least some good news. Yes, there was a lot of down stuff this last quarter, but it was on the high side of guidance. And, well, with Samsung imploding, it'll be really interesting to see what happens this quarter. Boy, January is going to be a fun quarterly call.
Hey, Rob, Scott, Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill. I sent you an email right when the iPhone 7 released, showing you the new Apple Care Plus and the tier level replacement cost now. And I was flabbergasted about the cost now, and they finally heard us, even though they don't listen to the show. And it's great, but you haven't brought it up in any of your episodes. And this has been 3 episodes now. I think the audience needs to know about what Apple has done so far as my complaint with my son breaking the phone and cracking the screens and all of the screens and all of the money I've wasted throughout the years on this Apple Care, and what they've done now with the new tier program for us parents who have to pay for these students and these iPhones. So, Rob, I think you should share that with the audience. Thanks. Scott from D.C. Bye.
Hi, Rob. This is Jason calling you. About the gentleman that was talking about Apple Care, I don't remember the name of the place that you used to sponsor you, but their insurance, it sounds like that would be a best bet for his child. And a life-proof case, something that's waterproof and very, very durable. Just thought that might help him out. I can't remember the name of it if you do or whatever, but thought you might want to take a look at that. Have a good one.
Gentlemen, thanks for the voicemail messages. And really does come down now to, do you want to put a big old case on it and protect it? Do you want to pay for a warranty? And Scott, the best thing I could say is go to the Apple store and talk to the folks at Apple and see what plan makes sense to you. But to Jason, that was Square Trade is another third party that you can look at for the plans. There are different insurance plans out there. You don't have to just go with Apple. You don't ever probably want to go with the ones from your carriers. From everything I've read, the carrier ones are totally a ripoff. So you do want to either go with a third party like Square Trade or go to Apple for their warranty. Stay away from the carrier ones. They really are a moneymaker for them. And if it's a moneymaker for them, it's probably a money loser for you. Back to email bag. Hi, Rob. I ordered my black 256 gig iPhone 7 Plus from Sprint on September 10th, and it arrived yesterday on September 27th. It was very painless activating my new phone as an upgrade using my old phone. My old phone was 64 gig gold iPhone 6 Plus, and this is a crazy upgrade. I'm glad I took your advice and went with the 256 gig version. Total out of pocket for the new phone is roughly $365 to get the financing program started. I owe about $680, but if I send my old iPhone 6 Plus back to Sprint, they will credit my account all but 90 cents of the monthly payment. So roughly $400 for the top end iPhone 7 Plus. Can't beat that deal. And without a 2-year contract. I'm thinking about just sending Sprint roughly $23 to pay off my obligation along with my old phone, and all I'll pay is my monthly service plan. Love the show. Just figured I'd share the deal I got. Regards, Keith W. Well, thanks, Keith, for your feedback. And one thing I haven't really mentioned this time around is this year, the carriers have come back in a much stronger fashion, offering up incentive programs, subsidy programs. So unlike last year where they were pretty much all gone, this year they seem to be all back in trying to win over iPhone users. So you may want to check with your carrier if you haven't already ordered a new iPhone 7 or if you're on the fence for a 7 or 7 Plus and see what kind of incentive your carrier will offer you to get the upgraded iPhone. And I should apologize, that was a very U.S.-centric comment, but in the U.S., the carrier subsidies have come back.
Hi, Rob. This is me. I was the one who called with the unlocking of the phone with the iOS beta, and I did report it to Apple. It turns out that it may have been capturing my fingerprint. I tried my other hand, which I do not have set up with Touch ID, and I could not reproduce it then. So they tried to have me to reproduce it by using those steps, and I couldn't do it. So it's not a bug after all. So that's good. I just want to call back and let you know that, and let everybody else know. Also, one more thing, though. I have noticed when I installed the beta, Raise to Wake was on, and, you know, that could keep waking up in your pocket if you're walking around or whatever. So put that out there that they may want to turn Raise to Wake off so it doesn't keep waking up and draining your battery. Thanks for the show, and you have a good day. All right, bye.
When is your birthday?
I don't really have a birthday. My first day as an assistant was October 4th, 2011.
When is your birthday?
I don't have a date of birth per se, but I made my first appearance on October 4th, 2011.
When is your birthday?
I wasn't really born. I came into existence gradually.
When is your birthday?
I became operational on October 4th, 2011.
When is your birthday?
I arrived on October 4th, 2011, if that's what you meant.
When is your birthday?
My incept date was October 4th, 2011.
When were you born?
Only biological entities can have birthdays. I became operational on October 4th, 2011.
Thanks again to Casper for their support of TII. And if you go to casper.com/TII and use promo code TII, all lowercase, you will save $50 off a mattress shipped right to your door. Again, go to casper.com/TII and use promo code TII. Quick note, our next episode will likely not be for 2 weeks. Next week, I'll be traveling the end of the week, but I will work on show notes when I'm away. My guess is next episode will be November 6th or 7th or the 9th. The 8th is my 19-year anniversary, so it will not be the 8th. And before we go today, I want to remind you to send in your feedback to the show, 206-666-6364, that's 206-Moondog, or record your feedback and email it to the show at todayandios@gmail.com. Feedback can be a question or comment for something someone said on this episode, or it can be a question or a rant you have about something else, an app, a product review, good or bad. As long as it is iOS related, it is welcomed on the show. I am always looking for new artwork to feature on the show that you've created an iOS device. Just put some TII branding on it and send it in. And of course, we're always looking for more music created on an iOS device to play on the show. I'm out of music, so I need your music. So if you have music, send your music in. Your feedback and contributions for the show is greatly appreciated. Also, don't forget to check out our moderated Google Plus community by going to todayandios.com/community. Thanks again to Harry's for sponsoring this episode. Folks, please go to harrys.com/TII right now and enter code TII at checkout to claim your free trial set and free post-shave balm. That's harrys.com/TII and then enter coupon code TII, and all you have to do is pay shipping. Finally, check out the newly updated TII app, which is free to you. We now have the Apple Watch app included. Search for TII in the iTunes App Store. It is the best way to consume the show and to get push notifications each time a new episode of TII is released. It is fully voiceover friendly, of course. Please go right now and download the free TII app. And per this episode, folks, that is almost going to do it for us. I say almost, as there is some additional listener feedback after the music, so please stick around for that. But that is it for me on this episode. Until the next time, I'm your host, Rob, reminding you to phone different. This show is hosted on Libsyn.com and part of the Wizard Media Network. If you are looking for hosting, go to Libsyn.com, that's Libsyn.com, for hosting for your podcast and for creation of your own smartphone app. The Today in iOS podcast can also be found on the free Stitcher radio app. Just search for TII.
Hey, Rob, it's Ryan from Seattle. Just wanted to reach out to you and give you kind of my feedback of the past couple weeks and what I've experienced. So I've been an iPhone user. I had the original iPhone December of 2007. I've been an iPhone guy ever since. I've dabbled with Android here and there. So the Note 7 came out, right? And I decided to jump upon that. I was going to get the iPhone 7 Plus, but decided to go with the Note 7. I gave my wife my 6S, so that was gone. She possessed it now. I couldn't go back. So I got the Note 7, and there was the recall. The batteries were exploding. They were catching on fire. So I took it back to AT&T, returned it to them. I was using my old iPhone 5S that doesn't have a working speaker for a while, and decided that I was going to order the iPhone 7 Plus. I went ahead and did that on launch time. And in fact, I called and I let you know how that went for me. Well, lo and behold, the Note 7 got re-released and it had a safe battery. That was appealing to me. I really liked that device. So I went ahead and picked up one of them. And my iPhone 7 Plus got lost. It was all over the place. It went to China to Korea, back to China to Korea, Hong Kong. It was all over. So I was a little frustrated, and I returned the 7 Plus and stayed with the Note 7. Guess what? The new, quote-unquote, safe Note 7s are exploding. Yeah. So here's what I did. I just took it back yesterday. I'm kind of in limbo right now. I've ordered an iPhone 7 Plus. I'm very excited to get it. I should have kept it in the first place. I do like Android. I know they're susceptible to malware and they're not nearly as secure. I get it. I completely understand and I agree with it. But one thing I do appreciate is all the different customizations that you can make with that OS. But I'm back on the Apple train. I've got a 7 Plus that's hopefully going to be on its way soon. It's black, or it's not jet black, but it's the matte black, and it's 128, so hopefully I get it before Thanksgiving. Sheesh. It says 3 to 4 weeks. Anyways, man, I just wanted to share that with you. I know there's probably some other folks, some of our listeners that have dabbled with Android or appreciate the Android OS for some of its features or whatnot, but the Note 7 actually really was a great phone. The battery was awful, man. I'm telling you, the battery was horrible. So I cannot wait to delve into this iPhone 7 Plus battery. Sorry this is so long, man. Take care. Love the show. Later.